All right, on to chapter 13. 13.1, page 759. First section has to do with means, medians, and modes. You've probably heard these terms before, but just to quickly describe what they mean, a mean is just an average, right? You're just adding up, given any data set. So let's say we're given some data set. This is just a generic data set, first value, second value, third value, nth value. N is the number of values in the data set. So for a mean, all we're doing is adding up all the values. This is the sum from 1 to n of those values. What this symbol means is you take the first value, x sub 1, you add the second value, x sub 2, you add the third, you add the fourth, you add them all together, and then you divide by the number of values in the data set. It's just an average. I think we're all familiar with an average. The median is the middle value in the data set, and the mode is the most frequently occurring value in the data set. So I'm going to show you, I'm giving you the formula here, and I'm going to show you how to find the median by hand if you need to, but I'm also going to show you how to do this on the calculator. It's much easier to do on the calculator. So we're looking at, I forget what number this is. This is a problem in the book. From 13.1, they give us a data set, and this is number 8 on page 13.1. We're given this data set here, and we're asked to find the mean, the median, and the mode. So first thing you want to do, and this helps us when we find the median, is put the data in ascending order. This is also something that can be done on the calculator. I'll show you how to do this, but this is a small enough set that we can kind of just do it by odd, right? So I'm just taking these numbers that were given to us in the data set and putting them in ascending order, from least to highest ascending order. There's 9 values in the data set, and this is the data set in ascending order. So if we want to find the mean, all we're doing is adding up all these numbers. That's what I'm doing here, adding up all those numbers and dividing by 9. So if you add up all those numbers and divide by 9, you should get 132.2 as your average or mean. And we'll check this on our calculator. Now the median, again, this is why we want to put the data in ascending order. And if you look at this expression here, n plus 1 over 2, and you think about, and I'm kind of making words up here, right? N plus 1 over 2th term in the ascending list. So basically the middle term. So the thing is, if you have an odd number of values in the data set, you're going to get an actual middle value, right? You're going to have the same number above and below that middle value. If it's an even number of values, then what you're going to do is you're going to take the average of the 2 values that are in the middle, right? Because you're not going to get an actual middle value. Let's say there's 4 values in the data set. Well, there's no middle value, but the second and third, the average of the second and third would be your median. Okay, if there were 6 values, the average of the third and fourth would be the median. In this case, we have an odd number, so when we calculate this expression, n plus 1 over 2, we get 10 over 2, or the 5th term in the ascending list. So we just count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's going to be the middle value, right? There's 4 values above that. There's 4 values below. That's going to be our median value. Now, again, realize if I put another value in here, let's just say, if I put one more value in here, let's say 170, well, then we would have 10 values, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This would come out to be 11 over 2, or 5.5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.5. We would take the average of those 2 values to get the median. Okay? but we don't have 10 values, we only have 9. So we had 9 values, which gave us an actual median of 118. That was our median value. And the mode is the most frequently occurring, and we can see 118 occurs 3 times, 166 occurs twice. So 118 is also the mode of this data set. Now let's look at how to put this into a calculator and see these things a little bit easier than having to do it by hand. All right, so here's our calculator. Clear. And first we need to be able to put the list into the calculator. So you go to this stat function, you go to edit, and you choose that first option, and you're going to get your list. So now let's put these numbers in. Now I'm going to show you how the calculator allows you to put it in ascending order. Let's just put it in the order that it was given. So 118, 105, 110, 118, 134, 155, and 166 twice, and 118. And again, we can see there's 9 values in the list, but it's not in ascending order. So a nice function here, if you go back to the stat button and go to sort A, that means sort in ascending order. Sort D means sort in descending order. So we're going to go down to sort A. We're going to put the list 1 in. That was our list 1. So second function, list 1. We can close that parentheses. And when it hits done, we can go back and we'll see, when we go back to stat and edit, we'll see that that list is now in ascending order. All right, so we want the mean, the median, and the mode. The only thing that the calculator isn't going to give you is the mode. So once again, go back to the stat menu. Now we're going to go over to calculate. So use the arrows to go to calculate and choose one variable statistics here. And we need to put the correct list in. L1 is our list. And then we're going to calculate those data values. So here we see that we calculated our mean on the board. We saw that was 132.2. So that's nice that that agrees with our mean that we calculated. This is the sum of the list. We're not using that. This is the sum of the squares. We're not using that. We'll use this in a later section. But what we're looking for is the mean. This is the mean. And if you keep using the arrow buttons, you will get the median of 118. We'll deal with these values, Q1s and Q3s, in a future section also. But the mean is given to us as this X bar term. And the median, if you keep going down, is here. The only one, again, we are not shown in this list is the mode, but most of the time the mode is pretty easy to pick out and determine what the mode is. All right. So another thing we want to discuss in this section is something called a weighted mean. Now, a weighted mean is something like your grade point average. Okay, a weighted mean has this definition here. A weighted average or a weighted mean. So the values, you're going to have a list of values again, but each value is going to have a weight, okay, just like grades, right? Your grades have weights, right? If you get an A, that's a 4.0. If you get a B plus, that's a 3.33. If you get a C minus, that's a 1.67 weight. So to determine your grade point average, which is a weighted average, you're going to take each of the grades that you got, and you're going to multiply them by the number of units that they count for, right? So actually the weights here are the units and the grades are the values, all right? So I'm sorry. The grades are the values, the units are going to be the weight. So in this particular case, we have 5 classes here. English, anthropology, chemistry, French, and theater. We have a value of 4.0 for the English. That is weighted 3 times, 3 units of 4.0, another 3 units of 4.0, 4 units of 3.0, 3 units of 2.33, and 2 units of a B minus or a 2.67. So a weighted average, or a grade point in this case, you're going to take each of the values, 4.0, and weigh them by the number of units. So 4.0, 3 times, 4.0, another 3 times, B 3.0, 4 times, a C plus for 3 units, and a B minus for 2 units. So we're multiplying the value times the weight and adding up those products. This is the first x sub 1 times weight sub 1. And then we're adding the next product and adding the next product and adding the next product and adding the next product. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 products. We're adding that all together. We're dividing by the sum of the weights is 15. We add that together and we get a grade point average here of 3.22. Okay, so 3 units of 4.0 plus 3 units of 4.0 plus 4 units of B plus 3 units of C plus 2 units of B minus. All of that added together, divided by the number of units, gives you your grade point average of 3.22. So that is an example of a weighted average, and that is 13.1.